Hi there. Later, we're being dragged through time. First though, transgender people in America have been weaponised to such an extent, organisers of next month's World Pride event in Washington, D.C. are saying this.
It's possible that we may actually issue a statement telling trans folks internationally not to come. Or if they come at their own risk.
Ryan Bose from Capital Pride Alliance, courtesy of NBC News. The right-wing US government's transgender derangement syndrome means travellers might have issues entering the US. Only passports listing male or female are now being accepted there.
It's really shameful that you all are having to consider making statements like that when that is literally the intent, is for an international safe space for everyone to come together. It's really heartbreaking. Washington Council exec Jessica Fitzwalter. Numerous countries and queer advocacy groups have echoed World Pride's warning. Next, $10 million on inclusive, culturally safe healthcare for queer Australians. Ahead of next month's elections, a promise from the governing Labour Party they'll fund special training for doctors and nurses, if they're voted back in, of course. It's so people can ask for treatment without the fear of discrimination or stigma. Gender-neutral parental terms are being restored to kids' ID cards in Italy. The country's top courts ruled only having the options of mother and father discriminates against same-sex couples with children. Far-right politicians had the term parent removed from the cards back in 2019. On a similar theme, there's moves in Spain to get a non-binary option on passports and other official documents. A proposal is being considered that would also let the parents of a newborn who's intersex postpone recording a gender until the individuals decided for themselves. Plus, surgery would be banned on intersex kids under 12 if it's for aesthetic or gender assimilation reasons. And not only has a young gay boy managed to make a film exploring 1,000 years of queer history, it's also got Sir Ian McKellen in it. 14-year-old Jacob from Windsor in the UK, making us all feel like underachievers. Sir Ian plays Great Uncle Peter, an older gay man who struggles to be fully open about his sexuality. Jacob tells BBC Radio the film's main director knows the Lord of the Rings star, so
he texted him being like, "Oh hey, I'm working on this project. Do you maybe want to take a look at this?" In his words, not mine, it was a really inspiring thing to look at.
Jacob works with a film production company for young people, Notice Productions. Dragged Through Time gets its premiere at Windsor and Eton Pride in July. No time to tell you that trans women can carry on competing in women's football in England if they meet the Football Association's stricter eligibility criteria. And US baseball star Tristan Casas says he only plays with painted fingernails to wind up the culture war clowns. Hi there. Later, the queer marching band that needs some fresh meat. First though, a law banning pride events in Hungary takes effect from today. It's all to protect the kiddies, you understand. Get lost. Parliament's just on its last bit of rubber stamping, voting to amend the country's constitution. Also means facial recognition software can be used to identify event organisers and people who attend. Thousands of protesters have been on the streets in Budapest wearing grey, but why?
Look at all these people now, all dressed in grey. A perfect display of what sameness looks like. Do we actually want this? That's the twist, of course. We don't want everyone to be the same.
Thanks to AFP. Also from today, only 2 genders will be legally recognised as Hungary follows America's lead in queer persecution. Next to the Philippines, where a Senate election candidate's losing supporters are saying she's against bringing in same-sex marriage. Heidi Mendoza had been seen as an ally and she's apologised following a backlash. Prominent supporters like trans content creator Sasa Girl have withdrawn their endorsements. And an LGBTQ+ marching band in Ohio in America is on the lookout for new members. Huh? These are the stories you want. Toledo's Glass City Pride band's only a few months old, but already has plans for a joint concert with a local queer-friendly church choir. The organisers want to celebrate LGBTQ+ music and musicians performing hits by the likes of Queen and Chapel Rowan. How about some Liberace? No time to tell you that. Ethel Cain's become the first out transgender music artist to make the top 10 of America's album chart. And Troye Sivan's been on stage at the Coachella Music Festival in California wearing a pro-trans Protect the Dolls t-shirt. Hi there. Later, a trans man's book on masculinity. First though, the legal definition of a woman doesn't include transgender women. So says a ruling just through from the UK Supreme Court off the back of a case involving the Scottish Government and a gender-critical campaign group. Judges reckon the Equality Act defines a woman based on biological sex. This could have big implications for single-sex spaces and services.
Today, the judges have said what we always believed to be the case, that women are protected by their biological sex, that sex is real, and that women can now feel safe that services and spaces designated for women are for women.
Susan Smith from For Women Scotland, who successfully brought the case to court, they're supported by Harry Potter's wicked grandma, who donated £70,000 to their campaign. Next, if you're going to push to cut LGBTQ+ funding, get your facts right. Anti-queer Republican politician Andy Hopper put his ignorance on full display during a debate in the Texas House of Representatives. It got onto the right-wing obsession with gender, and he ended up denying the existence of intersex people. Democrat Lauren Ashley Simmons tried to help him, but
since the beginning of time, people have been born with either ambiguous genitalia or with or without ovaries, both. And so those people, from a biological standpoint, exist. They're not mythical.
Yeah, those intersex individuals are still XX or XY, so you can't change that.
A fellow Republican then tugs on his sleeve and says, "Andy, that's not true." Hopper had been trying to scrap funding for LGBTQ+ and diversity schemes at a university, and he failed. And a transgender man who's written a book on masculinity says he wants to encourage conversations about what this actually means now. Shannon T.L. Kearns from Kansas in America reckons he's got a unique perspective, and fair enough. The 44-year-old, who's also an ordained priest and a playwright, show off, hopes it helps men find a version of masculinity that feels right and isn't harmful to others. No time to tell you that the Australian version of Survivors got its first queer winner. Miles Kwa, who's bisexual, walks away with $500,000. Hi there. Later, why gay MPs on OnlyFans. First though, a teenage election candidate in Queensland, Australia has been dropped by his party because he's a dirty, rotten bigot. Online posts by little boy Malachy Brogden Hearn include homosexuality is degenerate, with same-sex parenting labelled as child abuse. Plus, the 19-year-old reckons lesbianism is disgusting, much like he is inside and out. Lyle Shelton's the leader of the Conservative Family First Party and tells 6 News why they've binned off this bedwetter.
This particular individual, had some social media commentary that he didn't disclose to us, so he hadn't been honest on his pre-selection form. This sort of commentary by someone who quite frankly should have known better is not acceptable to our party.
Hearns also posted racist comments and a gif of Andrew Tate doing a certain salute, because this is what he is. After Hungary's ban on pride events, EU lawmakers reckon the country's going in the wrong direction. A visiting delegation investigating democratic standards says there's a very hostile atmosphere for LGBTQ+ people. They've called for the ban to be suspended ahead of legal action. And a gay MP in Brisbane, Australia, started an OnlyFans page, but calm down, Daily Mail. The Green Party's Stephen Bates has only done this to maximise publicity for an election promise of free HIV medication, says ending the virus is too important to fly under the radar, and using OnlyFans helps him make a splash, so to speak.
No time to tell you that. Bisexual Irish singer Seamats made the Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe list of disruptors, innovators and change makers. And the Outshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival kicks off today in Florida. Hi there. Later, a proud weekend for rugby. First though, some trans joy.
My name is Brett Christensen.
My name is Bree Christensen.
And 3 days ago,
and 4 years ago,
I came out to myself
as trans.
This is really hard.
This gets easier every day.
So that's Bree having a conversation with her pre-transition self. She made a video back in 2021 when she first realised she was transgender. Now she's recorded another one addressing her previous incarnation's fears and insecurities.
It's really hard to see myself on camera right now.
Not anymore.
I've never appreciated my voice.
Not anymore.
And even though I don't have to listen to myself speak yet, that time is coming. And I'm dreading it.
Not anymore.
Bree, who's from Colorado in America, hopes the video can help other trans people who are struggling with their gender identity.
I just feel like I should do it.
You should.
What would transitioning look like? I don't even know.
This.
Am I happy about it?
Yes.
Am I enjoying it?
So much.
A link to the whole video is in the show notes. Next, claims American Vice President and couch connoisseur J.D. Vance is trying to force the UK to drop its LGBTQ+ hate speech laws. Reports suggest this has been made a condition of any trade deal, sought to be a sticking point in the current negotiations because the UK government's refusing. And it's the English Premiership Rugby LGBTQ+ Pride Round this weekend to big up inclusion in the sport. Teams including Harlequins, Sale Sharks and the aptly named Bristol Bears are taking part in matches with Pride-themed branding, merch and playlists. It's also raising awareness of the Unite, Tackle, Change scheme, encouraging fans to report any discrimination they encounter at games. No time to tell you that. The Good Law Project's new fighting fund for trans rights has already raised about £25,000. There's a link in our show notes. I'm Kev McGraw. Happy Easter, if that's your thing. See you next week.